that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Hi, welcome again on this business portal, a segment on trends analysis. Your host, Tony Casino. Much has been talked about, or what we have seen probably on the internet, like Facebook, Google, Twitter, Yahoo, and Microsoft, of course, and Windows. And people don't seem to imagine what is there something new that's coming up? But you see, behind all of this pervasiveness of the usage of the computer, as well as the internet, what are people behind it? Try to imagine the thing that you have on nature, plants. Plants need water, they need sunshine, they need soil. But the same thing that you need things behind them for the plants to grow and flourish would make internet more pervasive. I was talking to my friend here, our guest. He's a principal from New York, from Algeo Consulting, and is here attending to the conference held last week for the software industry. And we'll take more on what's been going on in the global IT for the Philippine market. And our guest, we're pleased to have Mr. Karnik Menashan. Welcome to our show.
Pleasure to be here.
Right. Real quick now, Karnik, what is the forecast, or what is the situation right now in the global IT market?
There's humongous growth in the global IT market. There are changes that are occurring on a daily, if not minutely basis. There are a number of projects that are beginning to emerge as the global areas of the marketplace. Some may have heard the word big data.
Yeah.
They've heard either tools that are used in such as Hadoop. But overall, as the global social marketplace increases, then you will have a lot more newer technologies that will become more prevalent into the IT industry.
Okay. But is there some kind of saturation point as far as this industry is concerned? I mean, there's so much talk about IT, you talk about big data. I mean, when you do a lot of search engines like Google, YouTube, right, all the videos that you can see, animation, will the market ever be saturated?
As long as your mind can think, technology will succeed.
Okay.
Because a few years ago, you wouldn't imagine having games such as Halo,
right,
or in that rendering, in that technology to where it's lifelike.
Okay.
Avatar would have been just a little bit of a mind. But now as it increases, and this is all because of a human mind.
Okay.
Keeping in mind is that the biggest, the best, and the most successful computer in the entire world is the human mind. Without it, none of this would have been invented. So there were people that actually thought of it, dreamt about it, and made their dreams possible, which is one of the things that actually are the drivers for the increase of the technology. Just like a farmer has various different plants or various different products that they begin and cultivate. As their farms grow from 1 acre to 10 to 15, similar with the internet, it'll grow because of what is it that humanity wants to do.
Okay. And what's the situation right now in terms of the skill sets? Do you have enough workers behind there in the U.S. or worldwide, for that matter, that is able to meet the demand as far as application programs are concerned?
Well, the short answer is no. There's a severe shortage of specific skills, primarily because as technology grows into different directions, the specific skill sets or the offshoots of the foundation skill sets are less and less, and because technology is growing at a much faster pace.
So not enough workforce within your, let's say in the U.S. alone, with the education system that you have, given all the resources that you have. I mean, compared to what we have in the Philippines, a developing country, there's still that gap, there's still that lack.
Absolutely.
How come?
Because as technology evolves into different areas, what you're teaching, and by the time you come out, keeping in mind is that when technology is being taught into schools, they're providing the basic fundamental skills.
Yeah, but in the U.S. you have all the big guys that built Facebook, all the big guys that built Google and Yahoo, and the next big thing, Twitter or whatever. But in spite of those breakthroughs that you have in the industry, I mean, that has contributed to the world market, why is still there such a shortage?
Because all those big guys took all of the talented people, and the next wave did not come fast enough. So the growth of knowledgeable resources has to somehow change. It has to tend to whatever the companies need.
Okay.
Because as technology evolves into different directions, those sets of technologies also have to change.
Okay.
One of the key areas that actually prevents this, when a certain technology becomes prevalent into the organizations, then changing it from that to another one is a fairly large undertaking.
Okay.
That time frame basically is what is the gap in between.
Yeah. You did mention to me before the program started about what was it like in terms of the number of cell phone users 15 years ago or 20 years ago, and I said 0 or probably 500,000. And now when you said how many do we have right now, subscribers, I'm talking about anywhere between 60 to 80 million in this country alone.
Right.
In this country alone, from almost 0 15 years or 20 years back to 80 million. And that's how pervasive technology has been in this country through the cell phone.
And it does not stop at a specific culture. It goes across all different levels.
Okay.
You have people communicating from where they are either on the street or people who are in multi-million-dollar houses. They still use the cell phone. So it crosses all sorts of boundaries.
Right, right. All over the world.
All over the world.
And that's what they're doing.
Right. And the internet is going to be the same because within the next 10 years.
Okay. So what brings you here in the Philippines?
We have several different. I've been here before.
Right.
I've worked within the Philippines technology sector, and I see that there's a huge, huge potential in the growth of the Philippine technology or technologists, if you will, because the raw talent that is there is basically right now just emerging. Unfortunately, there's still a gap between the number of knowledgeable resources versus the need that currently exists. And what I'm trying to do basically is identify for our projects specific skill sets to be able to address the need that we have.
Can you talk about a specific skill set? Let's say one example. What's the latest trend nowadays in the U.S.?
Okay. Big data, as I had mentioned earlier, is going to become huge. There's two areas that are going to become one larger but one not as large.
Okay.
The word big data will become really prevalent and in everyday life.
Okay.
Primarily, there's so much information that is being collected.
When you say big data, you're talking about text or graphics or both?
Both. Everything that is information.
Even voice?
Even voice. Everything.
Okay.
One example is either YouTube or Facebook. And that information is being used by connecting people that never saw each other. So your social networks will begin to increase larger and larger.
Right.
That amount of data has to be taken somehow in a very quick fashion. The technology that is used by big data, the development like Hadoop.
Hadoop is?
Hadoop is a tool that actually sits on top of big data, which extracts information. It actually lets you find that proverbial needle in the haystack in a very quick amount of time.
All right.
The
and
data
in this Hadoop, it's a tool. It's a software tool.
It is a tool.
Okay.
More tools will come in, but the information. Picture an ocean.
Okay.
But before it became an ocean, it became a small lake, and then from the rains, which is data collection, it became more of a sea, and then from the sea it became an ocean. And now in the ocean, you want to find a particular fish that existed inside that little lake that you had. Well, you can't, because now you have to scour the entire ocean. The tools such as Hadoop and the databases such as Cassandra, which are open source, easy to use, and they're cheaper because of startup companies, they become more and more usable and now become more prevalent into the IT industry.
Okay.
So now, with those tools and with the projects that they exist, you can find that fish with ease and with speed. Those are the things that will become more and more required as social media, as people doing videos, as people putting pictures grow into next.
Okay. So Hadoop is the one that does manages all of these different sets of data.
Correct.
Now, what connects them? I mean, now that we're all connected by the internet and Facebook, what connects them? What are the facility technology is there besides the hardware, besides the wires and the satellites and all of that? What connects them, technically speaking?
Well, you have, as it's being built in several areas, they're called data farms.
Okay.
There are huge buildings where they hold a lot of information.
Would there be a single programming language that would link them together?
No, that's why when you have something like Java and you have different languages that go all across, then it becomes transparent. It doesn't matter what language you use. The intent becomes the focus instead of the language. And the intent is to be able to get that piece of information to the user in a quick amount of time. Whether you use Java, whether you use Python, whether you use various different types of commercial off-the-shelf languages.
Ajax or NJS?
Or Ajax. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
The intent is how do you make sure you get the instant gratification to the client.
Right. Now, with regards to all of this Hadoop, these new technologies, these tools that is already available, would there be again sufficient workforce to tweak those programs to make them run?
Well, currently they're not, because as the technology emerges and people who are in the workforce right now and people who have been working into different projects, they've been focused on the current technologies that there are. Which are basically different types of programming languages like VB. They use Visual Basic. They use Oracle as a database, which is, I mean, it's a good database, but it's the standard
industry type.
Right.
Yeah, de facto they say.
Right.
Okay.
So I'm going to become a big supplier of information. I'm going to become the next Facebook.
Okay.
How do I do it without collapsing underneath the financial costs of such databases? I mean, they're huge. Databases are huge. Now you find alternate ways of doing it. Some of the innovators in the U.S. have been people who've actually said, you know what, I can do it better. Watch me. The drive has been there, the tenacity. So those become the next inventors, if you will. Those become the next people who actually... Right.
And how do you bring that to the fore? What would be the strategy? I mean, you're here in the Philippines trying to tap the market. You said there's a lot of potential here. And would there be some kind of methodology or approach to bring this, to narrow that gap, to bring that, to meet the need? But before you answer that, you got to pause for a break. You're tuning in here on the Business Portal for this segment on trends analysis. Our topic for this episode is the global IT for the Philippine market. And with us is the principal from the Algeo Consulting from New York, none other than Mr. Karnik Menashan. Do stay tuned for more information.